says how long, so we're looking for a length of time, right? How long will it take for your heart to beat 700,000 times? That's the most we want it to beat to figure out our answer. What would I do to figure that out? Am I going to add, subtract, multiply, divide? Divide. What am I dividing by? Yeah, if this is the end amount that I want to find, you're going to take that 700,000 and divide it by your heartbeat at rest for a minute. And that should tell me my answer in terms of minutes, right? So hopefully you might have a calculator near you. If not, you have your phone. Take 700,000, divide it by your heartbeat at rest, which was for the minute. Okay. Does anybody want to share there so I can kind of do a sample here? For the minutes or? Yeah, sure. So Sean, you don't mind sharing yours? What is your heartbeat per minute? Can we use you as an example? So at rest, what was your heartbeat per minute? Like the first number in the first box.
88.
88. Okay, so if you take, and this was 88 heartbeats per minute, if you take 700,000 heartbeats and divide it by 88, you have a calculator, right? 700,000 divided by 88 gives us what? 0.5. So that is his number of minutes. Now, at your elevated heart rate, what is happening with your heart after you've just jogged in place? Are we going to have more? Is it going to take us longer to get 700,000 beats, or is it going to take us a shorter amount of time? Shorter, right? Because your heartbeat is going faster. So you still take 700,000 here divided by your heart rate at the elevated rate, which what was yours, Sean?
22.
The second box and then times 4?
Wouldn't that be 88 times 4?
No. What was your first box? Just tell me what your first box, I can't read that.
22.
22 is the first box for number 1.
Yeah.
Okay, what was your box for number 2?
88.
The box was 88? Should have been like 22 in the box and then 88. And then what was your heart rate for the second box? Or maybe it was 22. Was 22 your elevated one? Yeah.
Yeah, I multiplied 22.
But what did you, okay. But you should have had 2 heart rates. One that was at rest and then one that was elevated.
Right.
So was the 22 the elevated or the heart rate at rest?
That was at rest.
That was at rest. So what was your elevated heart rate for 15 seconds after you jogged? Did you get that?
Yeah. Oh, 68.
For 15 seconds, or is that times 4?
50, that's
for 15. He got 68.
68 for 15 seconds.
Yeah.
Okay. So then times 4, ooh, that's really high.
No, he
it
got
was
17.
17 for the first one, and then I did that times 4.
Okay. So this is for the elevated one. And you said it was 17 for the at rest, which was 68. Okay. So 700,000 divided by 68, can you do that on the calculator? So this is elevated, and this is at rest. I said box, but I shouldn't have said box. That's what threw it off. What'd you get?
10,294.11.
Okay. So yes, these would be swapped. So his at rest took longer, and that is in terms of minutes. Okay. What if I wanted to do each of these not in minutes, but in hours? What would I do to figure out how many hours it would be? Say it louder. Not 24. Not yet. If this is minutes, you want to go from minutes to hours, so you would divide by 60, okay? So you would take your minutes to find hours, take your minutes for both the at rest and elevated, and divide it by 60, because there are 60 minutes in 1 hour. And then to go to days, to figure out the number of days, you would take your number of hours and you would divide that by 24, because there are 24 hours in 1 day. Okay? So that's how you would find them. Any questions about that? I mean, you've done some basic stuff with this before, I'm pretty sure. All right, so let's go towards the bottom. It says we're training for a 5K race. Do I have any runners in here? Any runners? No? This morning you ran 8 miles in 1 hour. 8 miles in 1 hour. That's pretty good. I think that's pretty good. If you run the race at this speed, how many minutes will it take you to run a 5K race? How many minutes will it take you to run a 5K race? Well, we got a lot of stuff going on here. So we're running in 8 miles an hour. That's our speed, okay? The race itself is a 5K race, and we're trying to figure out how many minutes. Where would I start? Is there only one place to start? Not necessarily, okay? I'm going to start with the first thing that it tells me. It says I ran 8 miles in an hour, okay? So 8 miles in 1 hour. That's where I'm starting, okay? If I run this race at this speed, how many minutes will it take me to run this race? Well, I need to get some minutes in here. So what is an equivalent amount of minutes for this hour? Right. So I am going to multiply by an equivalent ratio. And because I am changing from hours to minutes, that means I want the hours to be on top so that these labels are going to cancel out. So in 1 hour, I am going to go and run 60 minutes because those are equivalent. Okay? How many minutes will it take us to run a 5K race? Well, my speed is in terms of miles. So I need to find an equivalent ratio of kilometers and miles. Does anybody happen to know what that is? What is it? 3.1 what? In 1 kilometer? Okay. Oh, in total. Okay. Okay. Can we do a unit ratio? Meaning, can you find it either for 1 mile or for 1 kilometer? Okay, so I've got 8 miles. I want to know how many kilometers are in 1 mile. Can somebody look that up or Google it really quickly? So if miles is on top, I'm going to want the miles on the bottom to cancel out. I'm going to want kilometers on top. So 1 mile is going to be 1.609, something like that. Okay, 1.609 kilometers. So now I've got my kilometers. How much am I racing, or how long am I racing for this? How far am I running? 5 kilometers. So 5 kilometers, I have kilometers on the top, so I'm going to have to put the 5 kilometers that I'm running on the bottom, which seems kind of weird. And what's on the top? It's got to be a 1. What is this 5 kilometer? It is 1 race. 1 race is 5 kilometers. So as I multiply these all together and multiply numerator times numerator, I get 8 times 1 times 1.609 times 1. What's 8 times 1.609? You are my calculators out there. 12.872 divided by 60 times 5 times 1 times 1 is 300. And what are we labeling these? Well, we started to cancel some of these out. So it's not hours. Miles canceled out. Kilometers canceled out. So I have that I can do 1 race. So this is races per minutes. But I don't want 12.872 races. I want to know how many minutes it's going to be for this 1 race, right? So divide, I'm going to come bring this down here. 300 divided by 12.872, and that should give you how many minutes? 20.3.3 minutes. Okay? If you run the race at this speed, how many minutes will it take you to run the 5K race? So we'll say about 23 minutes. 23 minutes. Okay? So then it says using your active heart rate, because your active heart rate was really accurate there, right? How many times would your heart beat in this time? Using your active heart rate. You found your active heart rate in a minute, right? You found your active heart rate in 1 minute. So how many times would that be? You would take your heart rate, which was for 1 minute, and you want to know what it's going to be for 23 minutes. So what would you do? Multiply by 23. So let's see. Your active heart rate, Sean, for a minute was 88, right? So if I take 88 times 23, can you find that for us? Just as an example. 2,024 heartbeats. Okay. So this is all about conversions. conversions and finding equivalent ratios. What I usually like to do is to put them one over the other, and you want to cancel out those units that are the same, okay? So we can cancel those out. Any question about these last two questions? Okay, so this now means that you can do the first homework assignment, which is homework 3.1. It is about more heart rates, okay? We are going to be doing another project at the end that is going to be due December 6th. So the actual project will be that whole last week. And finals. The finals for this class, there will be an actual paper final, okay? It's going to be a 2-day final. One is going to be, because there's kind of two parts for it. One is more computational and quicker answers, so it's going to be multiple choice type. And then the second part is going to be short answer, complete the problem, word problem type stuff. Okay? All right, so we have finished early. If you have questions about your project or questions about anything from today, or if you wanted to start the new homework, this would be the time to do that. Okay? So does anybody